A teenage love story is about to take a devastating turn. Betsy was rushed to hospital after suffering a life-changing stroke that left her struggling to speak. Doctors later confirmed that the medical emergency was caused by the couple experimenting with non-fatal strangulation during consensual intimacy with her boyfriend, Dylan Wilson. The revelation sent shockwaves through Weatherfield, with Dylan quickly becoming the target of anger from Betsy's loved ones. Many of them viewed him as the person responsible for turning her life upside down, despite the circumstances. Now it appears someone is determined to make Dylan face the consequences in their own way. Upcoming Coronation Street scenes see the troubled teenager violently attacked by an unknown assailant, leaving several people with strong motives under suspicion. One obvious suspect is Betsy's fiercely protective mother, Lisa Connor Swain. Enraged by what happened to her daughter, Lisa blamed Dylan entirely for Betsy's condition. She publicly confronted him in front of his father, Sean Tully, delivering a furious dressing down before taking the matter to the police. Given her determination to seek justice for Betsy, Lisa certainly has reason to be considered a possible attacker. Another person with plenty of motive is Dylan's closest friend, Brody Michaelis. The pair became close while serving time together in a young offenders institute, but Betsy's stroke has driven a huge wedge between them. Terrified of facing legal consequences, Dylan initially denied any responsibility and even attempted to shift the blame onto Brody. He falsely claimed that Brody had been involved with Betsy and was therefore responsible for what had happened. Brody refused to accept the accusation and confronted Dylan, demanding the truth. Overwhelmed by guilt, Dylan eventually admitted what had really happened, withdrew his false claims, and later visited Betsy to apologize and accept responsibility for the tragic incident. Even so, Brody may believe that an apology simply isn't enough. Betsy's best friend, Lauren Bolton, could also have a reason to lash out. Having grown up in an abusive and manipulative environment, Lauren recognizes the warning signs of coercion and emotional pressure. Throughout Betsy's recovery, she has repeatedly argued that Dylan should face criminal consequences and has encouraged Betsy to report him to the police. Lauren cannot understand why Betsy refuses to hold Dylan responsible. In her eyes, Dylan's actions amount to sexual abuse, making it possible that she could decide to seek justice herself. Viewers will soon discover the truth as Coronation Street airs dramatic scenes in which Dylan is assaulted, while suspicion initially falls on the wrong person. Meanwhile, Betsy tells Ryan Connor that she wants to see Dylan, although she fears how Lisa will react if she finds out. Ryan arranges for Dylan to visit so the couple can finally talk face to face. During their emotional meeting, Betsy reassures Dylan that she does not blame him for what happened. Their conversation is abruptly interrupted when Lisa unexpectedly arrives. Elsewhere, Lauren and Brody visit Betsy as she continues to struggle with her speech. Shocked to learn that Dylan has already been to see her, Lauren insists that he must be held accountable for everything that has happened. Influenced by Lauren's determination, Brody later confronts Dylan in the cafe and warns him to stay away from Betsy. Dylan fires back by accusing Brody of being jealous because Betsy never had romantic feelings for him. The argument quickly escalates into a heated confrontation, forcing Nina to step in and separate the two teenagers. Later that day, Nina discovers Dylan lying unconscious in the precinct after a brutal attack. When he regains consciousness, the big question remains: will he reveal the identity of the person who assaulted him? A Coronation Street legend is set to take on sinister newcomer Ross as his dark secrets begin to unravel. Weatherfield may have rid itself of one dangerous villain after another, but trouble never stays away for long. With abusive Theo Silverton gone and child predator Megan Walsh now behind bars, a new menace has stepped into the spotlight. Ross recently arrived on the cobbles after being tracked down by Tyrone Dobbs' daughters, Hope and Ruby. Hoping to reunite their dad with his biological father, the girls believed they were giving Tyrone the chance to build a long-lost family connection. However, not everyone welcomed Ross with open arms. From the moment he appeared, Cassie Plummer treated him with suspicion, and it soon became clear that she had every reason to distrust him. Before Ross was introduced to Tyrone, he had crossed paths with Cassie at the Chariot Square Hotel. Heartbroken after Steve McDonald hesitated over her marriage proposal, Cassie found herself sharing drinks and conversation with a stranger before realizing exactly who he was. The discovery left her horrified. Cassie later confessed to Tyrone that she had known Ross decades earlier when she was only 15 years old. She revealed that Ross had paid to sleep with her while she was underage, resulting in her becoming pregnant with Tyrone. Despite the shocking revelation, Ross managed to manipulate the situation. When Tyrone confronted him, Ross presented himself as a remorseful man desperate to make amends for his past mistakes. Tyrone accepted his explanation, while Steve and Fizz also began believing that Ross deserved another chance. Feeling isolated and ignored, Cassie reluctantly tried to believe that Ross may have genuinely changed. It quickly became obvious that he hadn't. As soon as they were alone together, Ross dropped the act and threatened to kill Cassie if she ever tried to come between him and Tyrone again. The chilling warning confirmed that Ross remains every bit as dangerous as his past suggests. Not only had he exploited an underage girl years earlier, but he was now using fear and intimidation to silence anyone who stood in his way. Determined to expose him, Cassie became obsessed with driving Ross out of Weatherfield once and for all. Unfortunately, her plan was destined to end in disaster. In an attempt to ruin Ross's new job at Highfield Prison, Cassie secretly crushed tablets into his smoothie, hoping he would fail a compulsory workplace drugs test. Her scheme quickly fell apart when she accidentally dropped the packet of pills, allowing Steve to realize exactly what she had done. Disgusted by her actions, Steve ended their relationship on the spot, leaving Cassie devastated. Tyrone was equally furious and, believing his mother had gone too far, ordered her to leave his home. With nothing left keeping her in Weatherfield, Cassie accepted a job as a cleaner aboard a cruise ship and prepared to say goodbye to her family. However, her departure takes a sinister turn. Ross offers to drive Cassie to begin her new life, but once she gets into the car, he locks the doors and speeds away, leaving viewers wondering whether she has just made a fatal mistake. Given everything Ross has already done, the terrifying possibility that he could be capable of murder suddenly becomes very real. Fortunately, one familiar Coronation Street resident begins to suspect that Ross is hiding something. After Cassie mysteriously disappears, Steve becomes confused when she fails to meet him at the precinct as they had planned. Looking for answers, he asks Ross where he left her. Ross initially pretends not to know anything about her whereabouts, but when Steve reveals that he personally saw Cassie getting into Ross's car, Ross is forced to change his story, claiming he dropped her at Piccadilly Station instead. The inconsistent explanation immediately raises suspicions. As Ross struggles to cover his tracks, another Weatherfield resident overhears the conversation and instantly realizes that his story doesn't add up. Could this be the moment Ross's lies finally begin to unravel, or is he about to get away with his most shocking crime yet?